Hi, welcome to this week's calming practice. It's called Musica Mundata. That's a Latin phrase, and in general it means a feeling of harmony within the universe or the cosmos, or on Earth or in the heavens, however you want to think about it. But harmony is the general feeling of Musica Mundata. I'm trying to take that into the level of the body, and specifically to navigate through our chakras, which I see as our endocrine systems, along the front side of the spine, and to make ourselves sort of harmonious within. And in addition to that sense of Musica Mundata, we are also making music. There's going to be a couple practices here where we'll be humming to balance the neck and the head. So using our voices to reverberate and send some vibrational energy into our upper body. For today, have a strap at the ready. I have a blanket on top, but that's not necessary, on top of my mat, but that's not necessary. And if you have one block, that's great. We are going to need something. I'll be demonstrating with 2 blocks, but in addition to a block, if you have a blanket or a pillow in replacement for the second block, we'll be specifically using the block for support for the heart center, and then I'm just going to ask you to either a pillow or some kind of cushion or a rolled up blanket, so that the head can feel supported and that it's not like draping back. Okay. So if you want to grab something either in the room you're in or from like another room, go ahead and grab that, and then after that, let's begin. So we're going to lie on the back. You're lying face up and feet flat on the floor. Your knees are bent, soles of feet are flat on the floor, and we're going to start breathing in and out through belly. So inhale and exhale through the nose, breathing into our abdominal center. So pause here, sort of check in with your system, check in with your own cosmos, your own internal universe. And you can feel the weight of head, feel the weight of mid-back, and feel the weight of sacrum. And so the first practices here will be for lower abdominal work. As you inhale, you're going to press one knee forward in space. The feet aren't going to move, but you just press one knee forward, and that's on your inhale. So we're harmonizing breath with movement. And as you exhale, you relax back to center. And you try that on the other side. Inhale, other knee presses forward. Exhale from there, you relax. And go back and forth like this. This is not a terribly big movement. The inhale is trying to press one knee forward like there's a button a couple inches in front of your knee. And then you exhale back to where you started. And then as you inhale again, you press your other knee forward like there's a button, an elevator button, a couple inches in front of your kneecap. And you go back and forth like this a few times. And in chakra theory, the first and second chakras are in pelvic floor and situated behind the sacrum. So we'll be working with lower abdomen here in a couple different ways. This is the first thing to check in is with the breath. Inhale as you press a knee forward. Exhale as you relax back to center. And you go back and forth like this another few times. Okay. Very good. So you started with one knee pressing forward. Exhale, and you can cycle through to the other knee pressing forward. And when you come back to center, pause there. So notice initial movements, sensation, percolations around thighs, hips, lower abs, lower abdomen. And take your feet a little wider, about max distance apart. And as you inhale now, you're going to press one knee downward and inward. You can also arch your back here. So that's your deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you bring your foot and knee back to where they started, and you try that on the other side. Other knee presses downward and inward. You can also arch your back here a little. That's on in-breath. And then exhale, relax back to center. And go back and forth like this, syncing the breathing with your movement. So there's this internal harmony between breathing and movement. It's called vinyasa in Sanskrit. The inhale is the movement. Your exhale returns you to where you started. Go back and forth like this another few times. You might notice some differences between the range of one hip or the other hip. And you start on one side, you can complete your second side. And then exhale, come back to center. Again, notice movement around hips, lower abdomen. Take a deep breath as if you're breathing into hips and lower abs. And then from here, so that was internal rotation of legs. You step your feet and knees together, and now on external rotation, on inhale, you're going to press one knee out and down. Press that knee down, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, you bring your knees together again, and then we will alternate legs. So you press your other knee out to the side and down, and exhale, you come back to center. You go back and forth like this at the pace of your breathing. And it's like you're breathing into first chakra, pelvic floor, lower abdomen. Syncing breath with movement. You can think of the breath as being a conductor, and all the movements are different members of the symphony. But the breath is leading the way. And you start on one side. You can complete your second side, press the second knee down. And then when you exhale, come back to midline. Pause here for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one more practice to activate first and second chakra through movement. As you inhale, you're going to peel your spine up off the floor. So glutes and tailbone slide forward. And then you peel your spine up off the floor as you inhale into bridge. Top of the inhale is the top of your bridge. And then exhale, you lower down, landing your sacrum last. And you return to where you started. So inhale, peel your spine up off the floor. And then as you exhale, lower one vertebrae at a time back down. Sacrum lands last at the bottom of your exhale. And sync your movement up to your breathing. Several of these. Breathing into the pelvic floor, lower abdomen. Noticing the feedback you're getting from hips and from the bottom of your torso. Okay, great. So on your next exhale, you land your sacrum on the floor. Mind's eye to sacrum, hips, low back. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. Okay. And then from here, please take your block or one of your blocks. You're going to lift your hips up. Block comes underneath hips. I'm going to go wide with the block, and I'm on level 2, the second level, second height. I'm going to say probably level 1 or level 2 would be good for today. If this feels too high, you can always go down a level. And I would take the block wide. So you're supporting not only your sacrum, but your ilia. So the support's going across your SI joint. Okay, very good. And then from here, you're first going to draw your right knee into chest. So you can hold your knee with both hands, shoulders away from ears. If the knee feels too far away, you can always take a strap around your shin or the back of your leg. And so your right knee's hugging into chest, and your left foot, either A, you keep it where it is, and breathe into first and second chakra, breathe into lower torso. If you'd like more stretch around sacrum, you can start sliding your left heel forward. Now that will straighten your left leg, and you can straighten it a little bit, you can straighten it a moderate amount. Some of you may be able to straighten it out fully. But in any case, you go to where you can go while still breathing and noticing the breath and what the breath's effect on your lower abdomen is. And for some people, this might be more of a stretch on the right leg, some is more stretch on the left. Jaw remains heavy and relaxed, tongue is relaxed. The breath in and out through the nose, and if you can breathe into lower abdominal cavity, first chakra, second chakra, another few times here. All right, very good. As you exhale, you can first place your right foot on the floor and then place your left foot on the floor. Pause there and allow your legs to relax and soften. Let blood re-enter around the hip sockets, lower abs. Very nice. And then we'll try that on the other side. So please draw your left knee toward chest. You can use a strap around your hamstring or your shin if you'd like. Feel your head heavy, mid-back heavy, where your back is against the floor. You feel the weight of your body into your contact points. Draw your left knee into chest as much as makes sense. And option number one, you can keep your right foot where it is. Option number two is you start to slide your heel out, and you may slide it out a couple inches. You may slide it out several. You may extend most of the way or all the way. As you're sliding your right heel forward, you can comfortably hug your left knee toward chest, and the breath is doing a lot of work for us. So the breath as the conductor, just as it leads the movement, it also leads the quiet time. And you breathe into the stretch around hips, first chakra, second chakra, the organs in your lower abdomen. And notice how the breath can influence the stretch. And there's a few breaths here. All right, yeah, and two more until you take a deep inhale. Big exhale. And one last. All right. From here, please place your left foot on the floor and then place your right foot on the floor and allow the tissues around hips and lower torso to return to where they started. Relax. You might feel more sensation around the level of your hips. Take a breath or two here. Okay, great. And then similar but different, we're going to now take the strap around your right foot and the right leg's going to go up in the air. Make the strap loose enough so that your leg can fully extend. And by that, I don't mean it needs to be straight up and down. It could be forward, and that's fine. I would just need to take the strap looser so I can fully extend the leg. Okay? So I can take it up probably to about here. So that's where I'll be. But make sure the leg is straight so your quads are engaged. You press your heel up, open toes. And this is option number one for Supta Pada 1 with an option on the block. You can either stay here, keep on breathing into lower torso. Option number two is you start sliding your other leg forward. So just like we did in the last move, you can slide your heel forward an inch or two. You can slide it forward a foot or two. You can extend your leg fully. This is a more robust stretch for the legs, no doubt. And because the legs are getting a bigger stretch, This does make also the bigger sensations at the level of hips and first chakra. Breathe into lower abdomen, breathe into the bottom of your torso, like you're breathing into your sitting bones. And just make sure that even though this could be very intense, it might be very intense, make sure there's no pain. Make sure that even within the realm of stretch, there's some harmony as well. So the intensity feels productive, it feels sustainable. Another 30 seconds here. Notice your legs as they become more infused with the stretch. You can really let the stretch soak in. You can visualize or even feel the stretch soaking in to the fibers of your connective tissue. And one more breath here. Okay, great. So you can take the strap off your right foot, place your right foot on the floor, place your left foot on the floor, and enjoy that return to center from the stretch before we go on to the other side. So deep breath into lower torso. Okay, and whenever you're ready, please take your left foot into the strap and up in the air. If this leg's tighter or more open, you might need to adjust exactly what angle your leg is in space, but as best you can, see to it that your left quad's engaged, you're pressing your heel up, open toes, all that work so the leg is fully extended. That just helps connect the stretches from calf to hamstring, basically from heel to sitting bone. And this is option number 1 with your left leg straight and your right foot on the floor. Option number 2 includes sliding your right heel forward a little bit, a moderate amount, a significant amount, or all the way. So left heel is ascending toward the ceiling somewhere, right heel is pressing forward along the floor. And because the legs are straight and there is a bigger amount of stretch in the legs, that stretch also can confer extra sensation around pelvic floor, around your sitting bones. Make sure the stretches all feel intuitive, sustainable, and notice what your breath can contribute to the stretch. And if you can't breathe as deeply as you'd like because the stretch is too intense, dare to back off the stretch so that the breath leads the pose. And of course, this is side number 2. You can compare and contrast the sides. Of course, one leg, at least in my experience, I've never known anyone whose legs feel exactly the same. So as long as it feels okay, there's no pain, this feels like a positive situation for your legs and your low back, breathe into pelvic floor another few times. Very good. Take a deep breath in. Okay, and you can remove the strap from your left foot, and please take your left foot to the floor, and then you can take your right foot to the floor. Pause there. Enjoy your connective tissues relaxing back to center. Very good. Take a deep inhale and exhale. So you ground your feet into the floor, engage your glutes, and that will support your sacrum as you lift your hips up. The block comes out of the way. This is also the first move of the next practice. So the block's out from underneath you. As you exhale, lower your hips down and draw your knees into chest. So you give a good squeeze, and then you place your feet on the floor, lift your hips up in the air. So go back and forth like this several times. Knees, as you exhale, knees into chest. Also draw your navel in. And then as you inhale, place your feet. Breathe into abdomen as you broaden it and lengthen it. Exhale, you lower your hips, knees into chest, draw your navel in, and for a little more abdominal work, lift your shoulder blades off the mat. And then you're going to go back and forth like this between bridge pose and Vyamuktasana, the knees to chest with, if it's okay for your neck, the optional addition is lifting shoulder blades so you can activate your abdominal muscles. And so now we're exploring both like the range of expansion in your inhale and then contraction in your exhale. This is for third chakra in the belly. And so we'll be on the belly for a little bit here as well. So now mind's eye can come up a level into the upper abdomen. You're going back and forth like this a few more times. And the bridge pose is option, the bridge pose and knees into chest is option number 1. Option number 2, if it's available, you can take hold of your feet, still lift your shoulder blades, but you're going to draw your knees down in the happy baby pose. So if that's too much for your hamstrings, sacrum, low back, stick with your knees into the chest. But for the last few times, if you'd like to include happy baby pose, knees down, shoulder blades lift, go ahead and try that out as well. But the breath is leading the way. Exhale in the happy baby pose, draw navel in. Inhale, lift up into bridge. You're breathing into third chakra, Manipura chakra, which is our digestive center, the power center of the body. Another time or two here. All right, very good. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, this time just land hips to ground. All right, so we spent some time with lower abdomen. We've now included upper abdomen. Notice the sensations and the feedback from your abdomen. Take a deep breath in. And big exhale. All right, and also what's great for the abdomen, some twists. We'll do that next. Shift your hips to the right a little bit. So hips over to the right side of the mat. Extend your left leg forward and now draw your right knee into chest. So that's, so your right knee's in. You take an inhale here, and as you exhale, guide your right knee across midline. So your right leg comes across toward the floor on your left. And you can use your left hand to hold your leg. Your knee does not have to come down. It can be up in the air. If it's up in the air and you feel compression in the hip, or this doesn't feel right for your sacrum, you can always use a block, any level, and support your right knee like this. So the block can come underneath your right knee. All right? So from here, we're now wringing out abdomen. I encourage you to also breathe into your belly. So it's being wrung out. You can affect the stretch and the tone of your organs by breathing into your belly. And there's another few breaths here. Okay, great. And then you're going to de-rotate. So you can bring your right foot down, left foot down. Shift your hips to center first. And notice the recoiling and relaxing. You might definitely feel some stretch on the right side. That the stretch included, but really feel abdomen as well. And breathe into your upper abs. Okay, and then let's try that on the other side. So you're going to shift your hips to the left. So hips shift to the left side of the mat. Your right leg goes forward and draw your left knee into the chest. This sets up a pretty good twist. So you inhale here, and then exhale, you take your left knee across over the midline and either to the floor on the right, to a block on the right, or it can be suspended in the air. Okay, and we're going to let the pose work on us. So this is a rather calm, soft twist. And once you've determined if you need a block underneath your knees or where your leg's going to be, now tap into your breathing. And breathe into third chakra. So this is like upper abdomen. And this twist might go a little bit further than the first side did, or it might be a little more sticky. Might not be as big of a twist. Maybe your knees in a different place in space. All that's fine and good. You can let the pose work on you, and then also allow the conductor to influence what's happening in abdomen. So in and out through nose if you're able to, otherwise in and out through mouth, and you breathe into upper abdomen. Another breath or two here. Okay, great. And you come back to center. Both feet on the floor, hips in the middle. And yes, there might also be sensations on your left side that you might acknowledge, totally acknowledge them. Mentally, your mind's eye to the left side, but also in where third chakra is, like around navel, above navel. And you can breathe in the belly. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Okay, and we're going to do that again as option number one. Shift your hips to the right. Extend your left leg forward. Right knee into chest, and you take it across. So option number one is to do each twist again. Option number two is to bend your bottom leg so that your foot comes up closer to your right hand. Hold the foot with your hand. Or if it's available, you can always take a strap around the foot and you can hold your bottom, the foot of your bottom leg with your right arm. Okay. There's a pose called cat pulling its tail. If you choose to stick with option number one, you're breathing into belly, upper abdomen, enjoy the twist. If you're holding the foot either with your hand or with a strap, press your bottom heel over to the right a little bit. And you may also get some extra sensation around the first two chakras, the ones we first dealt with. Lower abdomen, around sitting bones. And in which case you can breathe into the entire abdomen. Okay? If you are not holding the foot, to get a sense of this, you can, the down leg, your left heel, even if the leg is straight forward, press it forward. You might be able to feel a little bit more length down the front side of your left hip, and you can breathe into it. And I mean, for this practice, I'm really seeing that as like the harmony of all three chakras. So around the sitting bones, around the sacrum, and also around the upper abdomen that you can breathe into. So full abdominal breath another few times. Okay, great. And then from here, you can let go of, if you're using a strap or holding the foot, let go. Let's come back to center, feet flat on the floor, hips in the middle, and notice what you can notice. Hopefully it feels like the body is more sensate It's providing more information about the present moment. So it's more sensations. So you get a chance to tap into more and more of our body because we're able to feel more and more of it. All right, great. And then from here, let's try those options on the other side. Shift your hips to the left. So your right leg goes forward, left knee into chest. You're going to take a twist. Supta Matsyendrasana on the other side. And option number one is to do what you did previously. You can decide where you'd like to place your left knee. Is it in the air? Is it on the block? Is it on the floor? Yogi's choice for that. And option number one is to stay here and breathe into upper abdomen. If you'd like to incorporate lower abdominal practices, you can press the heel out, or as option number two, cat pulling its tail, bend your bottom leg, reach down with your left hand. And if you need a strap for this, by all means, go ahead, find your strap, place the strap around your right foot, and hold it with your left hand. From here, you can press the heel out to the left. So option number two is to try to incorporate lower abdominal stretch with upper abdominal stretch. So we're sort of like expanding the internal, like what we can pay attention to internally. Our internal universe of sensations is getting a bit bigger. And you can breathe into the whole thing. So full abdominal breath, upper abdomen, lower abdomen. And if you're not holding the foot and you still like to experience something similar, the straight leg, bottom leg, press your heel out. Two more times here. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breath in. Okay, great. And from there, you come back to center. Feet onto the floor, hips onto the floor. Notice all the sort of recouping and recentering happening in legs, thighs, spine, low back. And notice your internal universe growing a little bit bigger in terms of what you're able to pay attention to. So perhaps formerly subtle sensations are now becoming more obvious because of our yoga practice. Take a deep inhale. Big exhale. Okay, great. And then so we're going to lie onto our side. It doesn't matter which side, we'll do both. And I'll be on my left side. You can be on whatever side you'd like. And from here, you can take your bottom arm, forearm on the mat, and you're going to lengthen your lungs from forward and up to get a little bit of a side stretch here on your bottom ribs and bottom kidney area. And this is Anantasana for those who know the Sanskrit. So you can take any option you want there. But option number one includes taking your top foot down on the floor like this. The bottom leg can extend forward. Okay, this will be good for the balance. Ultimately, if the foot in front doesn't work, you can always take the foot behind you. Just try to steer your hips forward a little so you can get this length on your bottom. I call this the undercarriage of poses like this. But either the foot's up here, option number one. Option number two, if you'd like to, you can take a strap around this top foot, or you can take your first two fingers, hold the big toe mound, or you hold the foot somehow, and you can press your heel up toward the ceiling. So this is going to be a good inner leg stretch for some of you. Okay, but if this feels like it's too much and you're not, and you wind up kind of like sinking out of a stretch on the undercarriage, stay here and breathe into your undercarriage. Breathe into your bottom ribs. Breathe into your bottom kidney space. Okay, and strap around top leg. You actually can probably also hold the calf. Somehow the leg's up there. But you're breathing into bottom ribs. A couple more times here. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, take a deep breath in. Okay, great. And so if you're in option number 2, release and everyone lie face down for the moment. Okay, of course, that was a big asymmetric pose, so there'll be differences in sensation from side to side. But breathe into entire abdomen. Breathe all the way from sitting bones into upper abdomen. Okay, and then we're going to roll over to the other side. I'm going to change orientation for demonstration purposes, but you don't have to. So your other forearm's on the mat. And the bottom leg is extended. And so check out what kind of stretch you can get in the undercarriage here. The bottom ribs, the kidney space, the waist is getting, as long as you can make it. And option number 1 is your top foot's either behind you or in front of you. You can hold the foot there, if that makes sense. And then you're breathing into, you're dusting off the bottom ribs, bottom set of ribs. All right. Option number 2, if it makes sense, you can put a strap around your top foot or hold the outside of the foot and press up, or take your peace fingers around big toe and press up. Okay. Or hold the calf, whatever makes sense for you. But especially if there's a lot going on here, just make sure you can also breathe. Breathe into your undercarriage, breathe into the side waist. And if this leg is a little tighter or more open, it might be in a slightly different position. That's fine. Take whatever options you need for the top leg in order to breathe a few more times into bottom set of ribs and into your bottom waist. All right. Great. And 2 more breaths. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. And one last time, breathe in. Okay, great. And from there, release. Again, lie face down. Breathe into abdomen a few times. So we're lying face down. You're breathing into belly. Okay, and then to come into child's pose is next. So you can always come up a little bit and then round your spine here. If you're able to sit back a little further but can't sit back all the way, you can always take a block between heels and hips and then round your spine. So you're either more hands and knees with the spine rounded, or with a block, or sitting toward heels. Knees together to round the back. And we've been breathing a lot into the front of the abdomen. We just breathed into the side abdomen in the last pose. Now here, in child's pose, I invite you to breathe into the back body. So it's like you're breathing into both kidney spaces, maybe even in the space between shoulder blades. And after working with 3rd chakra, that's upper abdomen, we're now going to start to sort of crawl up into the 4th chakra, which is the heart center. So you're breathing into the back and side ribs. 2 or 3 more breaths here. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. Inhale. And exhale. All right. And then you come out of child's pose, and the thighs are going to be vertical. So thighs are straight up and down. From here, this is a lot of teachers, including me, call this one puppy pose. So you're going to take your, it's like downward facing dog, but you're on your knees instead of being on your toes. So your hands go out. And then from here, if it feels okay for your shoulders, well, so if it doesn't feel okay for your shoulders, you're going to keep some engagement here. Okay, if there's any history of shoulder injuries or any problematic sensations with this, you're going to press down and stay up a little bit. You can breathe into your heart. If it's available, you relax your arms and drop your head and heart toward the floor. So it's almost like your spine's draped off your hips. And with your arms forward like this, you can, it really stretches the chest vertically. You can then breathe, it's like you're breathing into your sternum, and it's like you're breathing into your underarms. So puppy pose here. And for me, I get my head on the ground. That feels okay for my neck, so my head can take a decent amount of weight. And that allows me to crawl my arms a little further forward. But all this is in the service of breathing into sternum, breathing into heart center. This is more of a thoracic breath, where the breath stays in the ribs. And let's try this another few times. Okay, so to get out of this, press your head into the floor a little, and you can slide one arm back, one elbow back, other elbow back, and press your hands into the floor, back up to hands and knees. Take a couple of shoulder blade rolls here. Okay, and then breathe into sternum. Notice if there's any new sensations around heart center or close to shoulders. Take a breath here. And exhale. All right. And then threading the needles next. I'm going to turn around for demonstration purposes. You don't have to. But I'm going to start with my right hand first. Right hand is going to slide underneath my left. And either A, just take your forearm on the floor and you're going to slide your forearm out a little bit. If it feels possible, B includes taking your whole arm on the floor and sliding that out a little bit. Okay? So this is the more advanced option. If this is like way too much for either shoulder or the neck, you keep your forearm on the floor like we did in Anantasana and just take your forearm further over. Now your eyes can follow the arm underneath. I'm looking for a stretch because I'm sliding my right shoulder underneath. I'm looking for a stretch around my right shoulder. Okay? So one of these options, either forearm on the ground and you slide it over, or entire arm on the ground, you slide it over. From here, breathe into your right shoulder. The right shoulder is almost like the right wing of the heart center. And you breathe into your right, breathe into your mid-ribs on the right. Breathe into the rhomboid on the right. It's another few breaths here. Okay, and then to come out of this, you're going to use your free hand. So you press your left hand into the floor, come back up to hands and knees. Take a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction. Couple shoulder blade rolls in the other direction. I'm turning around for demonstration purposes, but you don't have to. Now let's try threading the needle on the other side. So right hand can go forward a little bit. This time left forearm to the floor, and you're going to slide it out a bit. My hope is that gives you some stretch in your left shoulder that you can breathe into. This is option number one. Option number two includes taking the entire arm onto the floor. Make sure that feels okay for shoulder and head. And then you can slide your left arm, threading it underneath your right, like a needle, like a needle through fabric, and then you breathe into your left shoulder. So it's like the left wing of the heart center. Several breaths here. Yeah, and so 2 more breaths, the breath leading the way. The breath helps conduct our awareness, our attention, also helps conduct and influence the stretch. So to come out of this, use your free arm, your right hand presses down. You're going to take both hands to the floor, a couple shoulder blade rolls in one direction, followed by the other direction. Okay, and then option number 1 is puppy pose again. Option number 2 is you can make you can do this in a yin downward facing dog, where you lift your hips, and I usually hold, especially because I'm on a blanket. You might not have a blanket, so this might not be a thing, but I'm going to hold the mat, and then from there, as long as it's okay for your shoulders, you can do as you did in puppy pose and relax your heart toward the floor. The head can dangle. I would really, because we're going to be working with the head and the neck soon, so you can move your head around inquisitively, but really try to relax the jaw and the head. Feel like your head dangle, and then breathe into the heart center. So the heart's opening toward the floor. So essentially you're breathing into the sternum, breathing the collarbones, into the middle of our heart center. Okay, and you can look forward, and from there, knees to floor. All right, great. So this is where, if you have 2 blocks, that's all fine and good. If you only have 1 block, that block is going to be for shoulder blades, and then you'll use a second prop, either a blanket or a pillow, a sofa cushion, kind of anything that's about that height would work. And I'm going to demonstrate the block at the lower level. If you have another level you'd like to work with, go ahead. But this is Supta Baddha Konasana with the heart opening. And so I'm going to, my hips are on the ground. The block is going to be supporting the mid-back. Okay, and I'm a fan of taking feet together, knees wide. This allows us to sort of survey and breathe up through all the chakras of the spine we've done so far, from sitting bones all the way up the heart center. And so your arms can be out to the sides. If you prefer another type of arm position, sometimes I'm here with my arms in goalpost position. They're out a little higher than my shoulder or a little lower than my shoulder. Yogi's choice on this. So just make sure your arms are comfortable. If not, the arm out postures work. You can also keep hands on thighs or hip pointers like this. All right. And make sure that the head feels okay. The head can be at a higher level than your heart, no doubt. So if it feels like your neck is thrown back, you can always raise up the block underneath your head, or just bunch up your pillow, or use an extra pillow or blanket. Okay. So breathe first into sitting bones and sacrum, so that's lower abdomen, and then continue breathing into upper abdomen. Continue breathing into the side ribs, and then breathe into the heart center. And so you're breathing from sitting bones up to heart center, the collarbones essentially, and then exhale, you breathe from collarbones, exhale from side ribs, continue exhaling from upper abdomen, continue exhaling from lower abdomen. So you exhale from the top down. And let's try this a few times. Inhale from sitting bones to collarbones. And then exhale from collarbones to sitting bones. Inhale from sitting bones to collarbones. Exhale from collarbones to sitting bones. And repeat that at your own pace. So I don't want to dictate the pace of your breath. So have it be intuitive. If you need to go slower than I described or faster than I described, just make sure it's not too fast. But definitely if it's slower than I described, go ahead and be slower. But you're breathing all the way up from sitting bones, first and second chakras around lower abdomen, third chakra, upper abdomen, fourth chakra, and even maybe the bottom of the fifth chakra of the throat as you're breathing in the collarbones. And then you reverse the order from top to bottom as you exhale. Do this another minute or so here. And for the last few breaths, you can take time to acknowledge that sort of the interior world, the harmony of this interior world that this yoga practice has created. So it's been your practice, it's been your experience. So notice your internal cosmos, your internal landscape. Okay, very good. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. So you're going to activate your inner legs. If you need your hands to guide your knees inward, you take your feet flat to the floor. Pause there. And then first, I always take my hands to my head and with my arms pick up my head and then activate my neck muscles to float my head. Then I can press my elbows into the floor and come off the block. All right, so yeah, make your way up to seated, and I will say that that the rest of the practice could also be done lying on the back. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference in terms of what we're feeling. So if you don't want to sit up for our neck practices and our eye practices, you can always lie on the back. Okay, so this is where we actually get a chance to make music, and I know that people have various levels of comfort with vocalizing without really communicating. But these are hums, and the idea of the hum is like not to communicate to anyone else, but to rather use the vibration to create sensation. And we're going to do this first with the neck. In general, a lower vocal pitch vibrates the neck a little more. So I'm going to find my vibration where it feels like my neck is vibrating a little bit, resonating with my vocal cords. Your pitch might be different than mine, and it might actually sound like it's not harmonious at all. So I would, and I feel like that's almost it, so I would go a little lower. And so that feels like it's reverberating my neck. It's almost like giving my neck a little massage. So I'm going to do that, and feel free to do this at your own pitch for the next 30 seconds. I won't do it loud. Hopefully my vocalization doesn't interfere with your vocalizing. As you're humming, relax your jaw, relax your eyes, relax your face. And do vocalize one or two more breaths, vibrating fifth chakra, the chakra of the throat. It's like we're vibrating our thyroid gland and parathyroids. I'll do it one more time. Okay, and then return to breathing in and out through the nose. And as you inhale, and the jaw is relaxed on this, but you're gonna tilt your neck back to stretch the neck. So if you're on the floor, you're looking behind you. And the jaw will almost always open, right? And then as you exhale, very gently tuck the chin, not to crush the front of the neck, but just to squeeze it. The pressure of like testing whether an avocado is ripe. So you don't want to squeeze too hard. It's just a gentle compression of the neck. And you go back and forth like this through cervical extension on inhale and cervical flexion on exhale. And do that once or twice more. Okay. And then return your neck to a neutral spot. And whether you're lying down or sitting up, everyone can notice any new sensation around your throat. Let your jaw soften. Okay. And so that's our fifth center. The last center is right between the eyes. It's like you're going to reverberate the roof of your mouth. So if you love anatomy as much as I do, you'll know the sphenoid bone. That's what we're trying to vibrate. That vibration, at least in my experience, for most people, that vibration you're humming higher. It's a higher pitch. So the resonant frequency of the roof of the mouth is probably different than the resonant frequency of the neck. So I will find my resonant frequency. That feels good to me. So there's a vibration between the eyes, behind the eyes, and so find it. Explore. It might be like microtonal. It might not be like a full step, or it might not be a big jump of tone to find the resonant frequency. So there's my frequency. I still relax my jaw, and now I'm going to focus on the space around my eyes, behind my eyes, and the hard palate and sphenoid bones. So do that for 45 seconds, another 45 seconds or so. I'm going to do it more quietly, but you don't have to go loud, but you can go really thoughtful and really inquisitive. To feel the vibration around your eyes, and in sixth chakra, right between the eyes, some people call it the third eye, the Ajna chakra. For me, I imagine that my pituitary gland is doing a little bit of yoga. That's where the pituitary gland is, right behind the eyes. And then from there, relax your efforts with humming. And whether you're seated up or laying back, you can take your eyes in a few circles in one direction. And for me, this also helps me know, because the eyes are attached deeply within the skull. And so it just gives me another physical reference of where I can incorporate my awareness to sixth chakra between the third eye. And after a few circles in one direction, change the direction of your eye circles. And so notice the added awareness of the space around your eyes, behind your eyes, really close to the seat of the brain. Okay. Very good. And allow your eyes to relax. If you're seated and you'd like to take final relaxation on the floor, feel free. You can also sit upright, and this gentle breathing practice that will use to connect all of the centers that we worked on in this practice. You can do that seated, or you can do that lying on the floor. So, mind's eye to sitting bone space around the hips, around your sacrum. Notice sensations around abdomen, upper abdomen. Notice the sensations we've cultivated around heart center. There's left, right heart center, the front of the heart, the back of the heart. And then notice the top of the heart in concert with your neck. So the bridge between 4th and 5th chakra, the lungs and the neck. And also notice the space interior, between the eyes, behind the eyes, roof of the mouth, and a little further back. Now take some gentle breath, inhales and exhales up this whole line. And I'm, of course, speaking metaphorically, but you're going to inhale from sitting bones all the way up to the space behind the eyes, and perhaps a little bit higher, like you're breathing into the top of your skull. And then you exhale from the top of your skull, through the brain, down your neck, through lungs, through abdomen, back to lower torso, pelvic floor, sitting bones. And you repeat this a few times at your own pace. Never feel like you are withholding breath. Breathe at a pace where you feel like your breath is irrigating you, nourishing you. And notice your interior cosmos. Have your breath conduct your awareness. Inhale from bottom to top. Exhale from top down. And repeat this practice. It's a merging of physical sensation, breath, and attention for another minute or two. Okay, great. And at the end of your next exhale, relax any control of your breath. Allow your body to breathe on its own. So notice that even without the breath conducting your awareness, you have the ability to notice all these realms in your internal universe. And hopefully this noticing in some way feels like a general sense of harmony within. All right, and if you are lying on the floor, please draw your knees into your chest. Give both knees a good hug. You can roll over onto one side. Pause there. Take a breath or two here. And then from here, with as little effort as possible, make your way up to a comfortable seat. And join me for the last minute of meditation on the full body experience. So as you're seated upright, notice both the heaviness in your body, what's keeping you on the ground, your contact points. You can relax your palms down, feel the weight of your palms, your forearms. And then from here, notice and you can even activate a gentle sense of lift along the front of the spine, along these endocrine centers that we've been working on the whole time. So the front side of the spine is long and light, all the way up through the crown of the head. So we have this sort of unifying sense in the body. There's both heaviness and lightness, harmoniously rolled into one. All right. Very good. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope this felt beneficial and helpful. And so thank you so much. Take care. Namaste.